That's right. I'm officially doing it. I'm officially calling out all of my fellow content creators and the community in the most loving way that I can do it. I think it's officially time for us to take some sort of action here.
What has Plarium done? They see people are doing better. Instead of going, good job, guys. Wow, cool. You guys have got good at champion training. That's awesome. Congratulations. You're playing the game well, and that's great. Good for you. Instead, what is happening is they go in and go, oh, they're doing well. Rank those points up, baby. Make them work harder for almost the same stuff.
I always felt as well that I need that champion. I need to do that. I want to do that. I need to spam. But I was like, yo, idiot, wake up, because you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that because this is a race that never ends.
Frankly, what I really don't understand is why it takes 6 freaking months. 6 months. Let that sink in. Since we've had balance changes to this game.
So I get it. I get what JGigs is saying. The stuff they do, it's like we give with one hand, we take away with the other, and it feels greedy. Feels greedy. I get it.
I think it's cool to try and strive for change, and I fully support that. And I like JGigs' message of wishing that they would like do things in a better way, like make Xena part of the permanent pool, or make it more accessible for maybe someone to spend to get her sooner, but have an avenue for the more free to play or average player to also acquire her.
It doesn't sit well with me. It'd be one thing, honestly, and it would still be a difficult pill to swallow, but it'd be one thing if they came through with a post today saying, hey, champion balancing, here's 40 long overdue buffs or reworks, and here's one nerf to Madman,
Yesterday, we got a new OP mythical champion. A few weeks ago, we got a new OP mythical champion. In a few weeks, we're going to get another new OP mythical or void or non-void legendary champion, and you're going to want to get that. You're going to want to get this, you're going to want to get that, and this will never, ever, ever end, and you're constantly going to want to spend.
Okay, how many points are they getting by playing well? Instead of going, you're playing well, great job, great. You did the fusion easier, and that is awesome. Instead, they go, oh, let's add those points on to what is necessary to get. So you're no longer doing something well. Doing something well is now the minimum that you have to do, and you're expected to do more on top of it. Like you are being punished for doing well.
This game is in such a bad state right now, and we've been gradually watching it get pulled further and further away from its potential over the last several years. Pretty much since the game came out. And that's tough. That's frustrating to watch because the game has such a good foundation. There's a lot in this game to enjoy, but Plarium almost refuses to let you enjoy it.
Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi. This is the Raid Shadow Legends video. As you can see, there's a lot of drama going on right now because JGigs called all of his content creators out. He did it in the nicest way he could. But basically, he's got an issue with Plarium. He's got an issue with Raid, and he's hoping that we can kind of all come together. Not just me, not just the other CCs, but the community as a whole, and demand better. And honestly, I don't disagree with that. I think he's got a really, really good point there. Now, I watched his video. I watched all those videos that I showed, and I know there's a bunch others out there that I didn't have all the time in the world to watch today. But there's a lot of really good points that CCs are making. Now, not everybody's agreeing with all that JGigs said. There's some of the stuff in there that I don't agree with as well. But more importantly, the overall sentiment that he's trying to get at, I think is actually really spot on and really important and something that we can all kind of get behind. And so while I'm not going to, follow JGigs' example and call for a financial spending strike, one of the things I do think that would behoove everybody is to take the time and communicate how you feel to Raid through Twitter, through Discord, through Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I think I said that already. YouTube, whatever it is, whatever your, social media, Facebook. I think it makes sense to communicate back with them. But I always feel this regardless of whether you're happy or unhappy, you should be communicating back to them. I know from experience, my father's an actor. And so, one of the things I learned right away was that TV shows and stuff, a lot of times, this is back in the day when we didn't have as much internet access, but every letter that was being sent to them had a huge weight to it, even though it was a fraction of the people watching, because that was the form of direct communication they were getting back. And so it, as many, however millions or, however many millions of people play this game, a small fraction that actually voices their concerns. And so they have an outsized impact compared to the rest of the population. So taking the time to comment and reply and like let your voices heard and known actually makes a big difference, typically. Not always, because we never know how they're going to react. Just like if you come to me and you complain to me, there's no guarantee I'm going to take your, your comments and go, oh yeah, they're right. I gotta implement that. Very easily I could go, they're a jerk, I'm not listening. But I kind of feel like that's sort of at the heart of the problem, is we feel like that's what's happening right now. That Raid's getting our feedback and going, well, I don't care. And I think that's a bit of an issue. So what I want to do is I want to go point by point, maybe not point by point, but I want to talk about the three big things, the three big specific points that I took away from JGigs' video, and then the one big overall point that he was trying to make. And I think, by talking about that, we can kind of, I can share some of my thoughts and, respond to what he's thinking. And as always, I actually would like some feedback as well. So please let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of this, right? What did you think JGigs' video? What do you think of mine? And I do want to also recommend, if you have time, go check out JGigs' video. Definitely watch it. I'm not going to show it here because I don't want to take away from that. I want you guys to go hear him with his own words, not just take my interpretation of it. And also, the other content creators, I'm going to have all their stuff, all of those videos that I showed linked in the description of this video. But specifically, I want to call out Nub Raids. I thought he did an excellent job of breaking down some of the changes that have taken place over time and some of the reasons why, as a community, we're so frustrated. So let's start off by talking about the 3 points that JGigs brought up. The first one is obviously has a lot to do with the spending in this game. And, there's a couple facets to this. One of them, Xena, and this idea of a money-gated champion, right? There's the idea of the progressive shard events, which kind of falls still into the idea of like 10x events and, some of the other shard pulling events that they have. And I think that all kind of coalesces into one kind of area here of this idea that Plarium is a financially greedy company, right? Now, I personally feel that exact same way, right? I think everybody in the community does. A lot of people call them Paylarium for a reason. I understand that. I don't necessarily look at it as this great evil, though. And part of that is just I've come to terms with this is who they are. I'm not going to expect them to change. And if I'm going to keep playing this game, I'm going to have to interact with that. And that's just part of how it is. I ignore all the offers that come through unless I'm excited to spend money on something or I feel like doing something, but I usually don't let the offers dictate that. I don't go through and what's the best offer? I'm going to get that one today because that's a good one. I'm not going to get those other ones. No, I generally do it based off of how I'm feeling, right? You know what? I want to get some more Void Champions. I'm going to get some Void Shards today. Or I want to get more energy because I want to do more dungeon runs. I'm going to get some more energy or some gems or whatever, right? That's how my spending is dictated. Same way I actually ended up getting the champion pass. Part of that is as a content creator, I want to make sure I have, all the champions to be able to do content on it. So I did get the champion pass. I did put out a video saying how much it's a bad, pass. The price point is too high. The rewards offered for the paying players are too low, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I even, highlight that this is a bad precedent. Having money gated champions is not a good thing because really you're either going to have to get her through shards and only in limited time. So you're paying for her or you're going to pay for this event, which is, again, I don't really support either of those things, right? I don't mind paying, but I also don't feel like she should be gated for that. She should either be included in the shard pool or she should be available to get as a free-to-play player as well as for paying people, right? That's my feeling on that. And I think that's kind of what's shared because the problem is gating a champion is a very, very slippery slope. It could get real bad real fast, right? If those champions, now Xena's like I think a B+ kind of champion, maybe an A- champion, but she's not meta changing. She's not needed for anybody in this game. So, I don't really mind so much, but if that was somebody that was meta, if that was Ninja, for example, if that was Brogni, if that was Duchess, if that was Karas or or Harima or Mariska, whole different story, because now all of a sudden there's a champion that everybody feels like they need and they can't do content or can't compete without it. That's a big problem. I think that's actually a really big problem. And so we should be on the lookout for future events like this and really voice our concern about it. And we should probably be voicing our concern about this one right here, because that's not that to me would be like kind of a death bell for the game. It really changes the tone of playing this game. The other point he brings up is the idea that, these shard events are super predatory and money grubbing. And well, like, yeah, they kind of are. But I mean, it's a gacha game. I don't really know what else to expect from that. I don't support doing 10x events. And I say this all the time, they're not worth pulling for, right? And I feel like with the progressive chance, it's actually, there's some benefits to it, even though there are some limitations to it, right? It does give you the opportunity to get some OP epics if they're offered. Gives you an opportunity to get some OP void legendaries if they're offered. Not a whole lot better chance than with the 10x, but it is still better because it starts at that 15. And if you have a bunch of shards, if you are somebody that likes to spend on this game, again, I don't see a problem with spending money on the game. If that is something that you like to do, then I think that's only beneficial, right? Your rates are going to be higher. Now, this is not what we asked for. We've been asking for a 20x or a 30x forever, and this is not that. And so, in that sense, it's very disappointing. But I don't think that in and of themselves that they're particularly horrific or horrible or, these negative things. It's a 15x, basically. You need to approach it like it's a 15x. It's just that you have a better chance of getting one of the epics. I think you actually have a pretty decent chance. But of course, if you watch my shard full video, you understand even that's not guaranteed, right? So as long as you understand that, I don't really have much of an issue with it. The other part is that, what was the next thing? He was talking about the fusion, right? The fusion is it is mind-blowing that Plarium thought that putting only 100 fragments available in this fusion was going to be a good idea. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Like, I am hard passing on this. And yeah, part of that is, not small part of that is that I don't like this champion. But the bigger part of it is that there's no way I'm going to get all the fragments. Like, my ADHD is too strong. I will forget or I will skip one of these events by accident, even if I'm trying for it. So it's not worth it for me. The fact that I can't take a day off from this game is incredibly frustrating and disappointing, right? And I think he's justified in pointing that out. And if you go watch Nub's video, he does a spectacular job of breaking down how bad it's gotten, right? The amount of requirements needed has only grown over time. The amount of time to complete stuff has only decreased. The amount of shards you have to open for these summoned events and champion chase has grown. And then, of course, the amount of events that you can complete and the amount of shards that are available has only gone down too. It's only bad, and we are being taken advantage of. At least that's how I feel, right? These events are opportunities for the player base to engage in the game, to participate in something as a group, have conversations about it, and get a very fun new champion, typically. But when you make it this hard, that is not the case. And JGigs is 100% on point with that. Is bad. That is very bad, I think. To the point where it's like, I don't know. I honestly don't know why anybody's doing this fusion. Like, I don't know why anyone would do this fusion. It doesn't make sense to me. And I play this game every single day professionally. It just doesn't make sense. The requirements are way too high, asking way too much for a champion that is not that good, too. That's just a double death knell right there. But honestly, even if this was another Brogni, if this was another, Helicath, it still is just ridiculous to expect us to complete every last piece every single day. It's a lot to ask, especially when you figure the holidays are right around the corner. You got a family, you've got a job. It's very easy for things to go wrong. What happens when your kid gets sick? What happens with, there's a medical emergency? What happens if you get in a car accident? What happens if you have to work a double at your work? Well, you better bring your phone and you better plug it in, because you need to charge that sucker and keep running your dungeons. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on this fusion. If this becomes the standard, that is a huge, huge issue. the last point he brought up that I really wanted to talk about, I think it really highlights the overall issue. The anniversary events. And he's 100% right that these have been abysmal. And the point he brings up is in a lot of games, most games, anniversary events are big deals. It's a way to say thank you for playing our game for a year. It's a long time for a mobile game, right? The fact that Ray's been around for 5 years is such a crazy stat. And, the last couple of anniversaries have been pretty underwhelming. Instead of giving us stuff, they have shard events. That's not a gift. We still have to get the shards, right? They look at it as opportunities to sell us more stuff as opposed to reward us for being dedicated players. And I think that really does go to the heart of things, right? The idea of like saying just thank you for being a longtime customer. I think that sentiment has a lot of value and a lot of validation. And so, like I said, it goes to the heart of the problem, which is just that we don't feel appreciated. And it doesn't feel like Raid appreciates us as players. And I think that goes to the idea that we ask for stuff all the time and, we're not really getting what we're asking for, and it's an issue. It's a big issue. Now, that's the overall sentiment here. And I do agree with JGigs. I think that's a big problem. Now, he's saying don't spend money anymore. I'm not going to say that. I just don't believe in that. Like, if you want to spend money on the game, spend money on the game. If it stops being worth it to you, then don't. And I don't think, this Fusion's a great example. It's not worth it to me. Honestly, Xena's not really worth it either. I got her kind of because I felt like I needed to. But truth be told, I kind of regret that decision. I wish JGigs had put this video out a couple days earlier because I don't agree with this system, this style, I did want to get Xena. I think she's kind of a fun champion. I feel like there's some cool things you could do with her. She's not meta, she's not game breaking. It's not going to hurt the game one way or the other. But the thing is like, it shouldn't be an all or nothing thing. The truth of the matter is, if they had offered a free way to get her, I still would have spent the money to get her. I still would have spent the money, to get the bonus rewards. I would hope they'd be better, but that's the truth of the matter, is that people that are willing to spend money are willing to spend money regardless, and to gate it that way is just such a negative approach. It's really a problem. So the bottom line is like, JGigs pointed out a lot of this stuff, a lot of these issues. And I like I said, I'm not going to support, a financial block on the game. But what I will say, and I really encourage this, is you guys should use your voices. Social media is a wonderful thing because it allows you to really communicate directly with the company. And I feel like you guys should avail yourselves of that. Now, I have to really quick. This is really important. So please don't click away yet. This is really important. Do so respectfully. Please don't be a jerk about it. Don't be a jerk. Don't be mean, right? It is a lot easier to take criticism when it's presented in a way that isn't aggressive. And I feel like we can do that, I feel like, this is how I feel about the comments I get. You guys have disagreements with me. I actually like talking disagreements as long as it's presented respectfully, as long as there's no personal jabs attached to it. You're not calling me stupid or an idiot, by inference or directly along the way. I actually enjoy having those discussions and enjoy disagreeing with people on stuff because it helps me think about things in other ways and makes me reconsider positions that I have. And overall, it's just kind of a good way to go about it, right? Like it makes me a better creator. It makes me a better person too. But it comes down to, how are you talking about this stuff? How are you having these discussions, right? And it's just about being respectful and not being a jerk about it. So I would never ask you guys to talk to them and do so in a disrespectful way because I wouldn't want to be talked to that way. So, and I assume you guys don't either. So just talk to them in a respectful way, but absolutely communicate. I don't care if that's Reddit, if that's Discord, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, whatever platform you decide to use, Facebook, whatever. I would use it and just express how you feel about things. Because the truth of the matter is, one, they're going to take direct comments from you guys a lot. They're going to read them. They're going to hear that. I know that they look at that stuff, but they're also, that is the best way to institute change and let them know how we're feeling, right? Is to tell them. Seems simple, but it's true. Anyway, that's my takes on it. That's my take on the Gigsy stuff. That's my take overall. I don't have any problem with spending money in this game. I feel like if you have your money, you can spend it, right? We can get into the whole gambling side of things, and I know addiction's a real thing. But that it's, you need to know that if you have a gambling problem, you don't walk in the casino and you don't play these kinds of games. Bottom line, right? Raid isn't a bad gambling game. Gotcha games are bad gambling games. Raid happens to be a part of that genre, right? And so if you have that problem, you really should stay away from, not to put all, it's not like it's your fault. An addiction, right? It's a disease. These things happen, but you need to definitely, this is definitely not the game for you. This is why I don't have a problem spending. If you can do it and do so responsibly, power to you, as an ex-smoker, I understand addiction and how it works. So, I'm saying this from a place of love, like it's, and concern. It's like, that's something that should happen. I will say one little thing actually on that. The one thing I would really love to see Raid implement is a way to, and maybe they have this, but it's not an obvious thing, but they should have a way so you can have them cut you off from spending if you need to. And they should have links and resources available if you do struggle from gambling addiction so you can get help. Those are things that should be offered in game. And that's something that I honestly feel like the whole industry should be adopting, because some people can't control themselves and they should have the option and an available avenue to, have the choice of spending be taken away from them if they feel like that's important. I know casinos offer this, or certainly, states offer this in the United States. I know it's offered somewhere. I've read it. I know it happens where you can cut yourself off if that's something you need to do. And anytime you walk back in that casino, they say, we can't give you any money. You can't play here, So I do know that's a thing that happens. And so it would be really nice if games like Raid would institute that themselves. I think that'd be really smart for everybody involved and really helpful. But anyway, some thoughts. I liked watching all the videos. I think these content creators do a great job. Make sure to check them out. Again, I do readily recommend JGigs and Nub. Those are the two that I got a lot out of. I actually really enjoyed listening to Ash as well too. But I enjoy all these guys. They're all great people. They all really good, insightful stuff. And they don't all agree on the same things, which I think is a lot like the community. And so it's good to get a variety of opinions. Anyway, guys, hopefully I hear from you in the comments. Thank you for watching. Till next we meet, I'm Deadwood Jedi.